People get stabbed, people get hurt, as you can see, my face. People hurt people all the time.
What happened to your face?
I got jumped by people in San Francisco.
Welcome to San Francisco, a city that boasts iconic scenery and oceanfront views. From the air, the city looks calm and beautiful. Unfortunately, the streets tell a very different story. A combination of Proposition 47, the city's sanctuary status, and harm reduction programs that embolden drug use has left San Francisco in a state of turmoil as drug addiction, theft, homelessness, and violent crime run rampant throughout the city.
Y'all seeing this? It's a 10 over there. You know, it's very bad. It's very bad, and it's not gonna stop because we're not gonna stop it. I'm trying to. I'm in the streets. I'm yelling at people to be together, to help each other, and they're going against it. So they don't want it. It's a clash. It's an obvious clash, and it's in my face, and it's in everybody's face, and they're gonna continue to do it. So it's no hope for America.
To highlight the realities of living in the city, I met up with San Francisco local Ricci Wyn. Ricci, a former drug addict himself, has lived in the city his entire life. After getting clean, he began dedicating his time to exposing the horrific realities of living in downtown San Francisco.
The neighborhood has kind of took a turn for the worse ever since the fentanyl frenzy, as I like to call it. This phenomenon has kind of came out of nowhere. It took it over for heroin. If you see them with the mask and the backpack on, those are usually the people that are selling. Like this person right here smoking. She's smoking fentanyl right there. You know what I mean? And we're right in front of the federal building. So this corner right here, there's the public office. This corner right here is where I filmed the video with the children getting off the bus stop.
This corner behind us is where kids or San Francisco residents are getting off of the bus every day.
Yeah, and they're forced to get off the bus right here, which is the 14 Mission. They're forced to get off right there in the midst of an open air drug market where people are using and selling drugs. The tensions are really high right there. I've actually had knives and guns pulled on me down there for filming. So that's why we're gonna kind of just, tread lightly. They don't like being filmed too much. The Hondurans and the Guatemalans and the drug dealers that control this market right here are not too fond of cameras. They control the corners of Mission and 7th and Mission and 8th down in the other direction. So I'm kind of like sandwiched in between both of these open air drug markets that have really flourished in the past couple of years. People are suffering. A lot of these people have mental illnesses and other things that they're struggling with. And the city's policies have made the problem worse. And in my opinion, it's actually enabling some of the drug users as far as their stance on harm reduction.
There was actually a harm reduction center around the corner from where Ricci lives. To show viewers just how easy it is to get paraphernalia, Ricci went in to see what kind of tools they would provide to a local drug user.
I'm going to go right in here in the San Francisco harm reduction site, and I'm going to see what kind of paraphernalia they're giving out today. I'll be back. So I got so much stuff. I mean, literally, they gave me a whole box of syringes. This is a whole box of syringes. Those are a whole box of syringes. I mean, literally for free, right? This is all on taxpayer dollars in these non-discrete black bags. You can't even get a plastic straw in San Francisco, let alone they're just giving away as many needles as you want. I have Narcans. I have these sanitary cookers. I have tie-offs to tie off your arm. I came out with saline water, clean saline packages to cook the dope with. These are to hold, these little tie-offs are to hold these like this. You twist it around there so you don't burn your hand while you're cooking the dope. I got...
And anybody can just come into this place and grab these bags full of equipment?
For free. I asked them what this was for. This is a new one that they're giving out, these chopsticks, and they said it was a pusher for a glass pipe so you could push your crack inside the pipe more. Right.
So they also instructed you on how to use these different types of pieces of equipment?
Yes. Little small pieces of tinfoil, right? They're literally giving you small pieces of tinfoil to smoke dope off of this straw like this. They even give you vitamin C, which is new to me. I guess it's supposed to help you melt the dope down, the fentanyl and the heroin. It's supposed to help you melt that stuff down. At the end there, after I got all this stuff, all this paraphernalia that they're basically giving away for free, the most alarming thing was I asked where I could go to get some help to get clean. What program can I get into right now to get clean and off the streets? And they had no idea.
City officials and local journalists oftentimes claim that these programs are beneficial to the community and reduce the spread of HIV. However, I wanted to speak with former drug users who have experience overcoming addiction and ask their thoughts on harm reduction programs.
I couldn't be clean like how it is right now. Cause see, these addicts here, they kind of enable them. They call themselves helping them, but they enable them. They give them rooms, they give them dope, they give them syringes, they give them all kind of stuff, right? They can go up there to Lincoln City and sit down and get high.
What would your message then be to the San Francisco government that is kind of funding a lot of these harm reduction programs? What would your message to them be?
That they doing a lot more harm than they is helping them with the harm reduction approach. You know, because see, like what he say, what we doing, we have programs which is completely abstinence based. But this particular program right here on the corner, it's a collaborative with the Department of Public Health, the adult probation, and the Department of Public Health. They pro harm reduction. But we told them, we got real caught up with them and say, look, we ain't really doing that harm reduction shit. Shit don't work. You know what I mean? Look at the streets now. You know, the kids. You know, I didn't know that here in the Tenderloin, they got more kids in the Tenderloin than anywhere in any other part of San Francisco. Yeah. So all up in these buildings and everything is kids.
And isn't this one of the worst areas too?
This is the worst area, man. They got to come around. They got to step over addicts, play around syringes.
The government doesn't print its own money. It comes from taxpayers, right? So this is a great system. And if you say to a drug addict, I'm going to give you money and a place to stay where you can shoot dope all you want, that's what they're going to do. That's what we know. We weren't paying. The question isn't why the drugs, it's why the pain. That should be the question we're asking. Now, if you look at these policies, they're not designed to address the problem. They're designed to mitigate it and manage it in a way that looks better than sending everybody to CDC. It's an attempt to manage a problematic population and accrue a lot of wealth. There's a ton of money being made on this dysfunction.
The city of San Francisco has spent over $1 billion on homelessness for the fiscal year of 2021 to 2022. However, the funding has only served to grow the homeless population that has navigated to the city, promising free housing and paraphernalia. Back in 2016, the homeless population was a little over 12,000. However, since the COVID pandemic and the city's decision to use hotels to house homeless individuals, that number has since risen to almost 20,000, meaning the city is spending around $57,000 per homeless person per year. Ricci took us to one of the local hotels where funding for these types of programs has run out, and the homeless are now being kicked back out onto the streets.
This entire hotel was basically housing homeless people with substance abuse problem, and now it's basically being shut down by the city. It was a thriving hotel at one point, and then they basically shut it down to basically house homeless people during the pandemic. And they gave these people these hotel rooms and no treatment, right? You gave them a place to stay, but with no drug treatment, so now they didn't get better. Now they're just getting kicked back out on the street. And you can see these people's stuff out here.
So much about us filming right now?
They're freaking out so much about us filming this right now because they're trying to keep it hush-hush, right? The mayor's office trying to keep it hush-hush. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors is trying to keep it hush-hush, that they made a big mistake. They made a big mistake by inviting more homeless people into the city, and now the funding has ran out, and they have nowhere to put these people. So you're kicking them back out on the street with no substance abuse treatment, and basically they are not equipped with the facilities within their own personal mental fortitude to take care of themselves or get clean and sober off of drugs. This hotel right here in particular, this hotel in particular was where they put a lot of the unhoused individuals, a good hotel right here. And what happened is exactly what I said earlier, is when the funding ran out, it basically pushed these people onto the streets. But not only was that the problem, it also became a choke point for the dealers to wait for some of these mentally ill people and some of these people that are struggling with substance abuse problems. They gave them a spot to basically poach on them, if you will, because now you've sandwiched all these people into this building. So now when they come out, or when they were coming out of this building, basically they're being now bombarded with with drugs, right? These people are literally, they come up to me sometimes and still offer me drugs. And, you know, I've been clean and sober for the longest, but they just still want to push their agenda and push their drug in your face. And it causes people to relapse a lot.
Locals and former police officials shared with me how the drug use, theft, and violent crime are all directly related. Proposition 47, for example, reclassified theft and drug possession from felonies to misdemeanors and also increased the dollar amount by which theft can be prosecuted as a felony from $400 to $950.
Businesses in San Francisco have to spend so much money for security, private security companies, mainly because of the theft policies they have here in San Francisco. Anything under $900 you won't even get charged with for stealing. So basically the homeless and the drug addicts, they steal whatever they want as long as it's under $900, and they come out here and they sell it for drugs or money for drugs, and it's kind of like a really thriving ecosystem.
All right, guys, and I'm not trying to just take you to the worst areas of San Francisco. We're standing in front of beautiful City Hall where you have a lot of weddings going on. People come here to take photos. We have children that are playing in the background here. There's 2 different playgrounds. And what you're seeing is the homeless inhabiting this area. We were watching somebody smoke fentanyl over there. So even in the nicest parts of San Francisco, we're about to go to one of the suburbs, we're seeing this type of activity. So we were just in the Tenderloin district, verifiably one of the worst areas of San Francisco. However, I do want to highlight how the crime, the drugs, and the homelessness are making their way outwards to the suburbs of the city, to the nicer areas, just like this park behind me, where just a couple weeks ago, a 10-month-old baby overdosed from fentanyl. Now, the paramedics were able to get here in time. They administered Narcan to that child, and he has since survived. But this is a very nice area. Houses being listed here for upwards of $3 million, and we are still seeing children being exposed to fentanyl in the streets.
While many think the issues of drug abuse and homelessness are mostly consolidated to the downtown area of the city, horror stories like this one are starting to become more and more common. As a former user himself, I wanted to ask Ricci his take on what the city could do to actually solve its drug problem.
First and foremost, they have to enforce the drug laws that are on the books. They need to arrest the dealers for selling. They need to amp that up. They need to arrest individuals for having paraphernalia and for having even minor possession of a controlled substance. They need to give these individuals, at least the addicts, a 90-day flash in jail so they can get a clear mind and be able to make a concise decision and a well-thought decision about getting into rehab. And for the ones that don't want the help and that will buck at going to rehab, they may need to be forced into some type of treatment, like a mental health sweep team that come through and maybe look for people that are in a moment of psychosis, that are having suicidal ideation, and be able to get those guys into some type of facility where they can, force them to take their medication, because in jail they can't force you to take your medication. I think they might want to rethink some of the sanctuary laws, because a lot of these individuals out here selling drugs are undocumented, and they need to maybe start some type of approach to where if the individual is a repeat offender, then maybe they need to stay away, if not from the country, from San Francisco in a whole. It's really hard to even imagine them getting a handle on this situation. I would think that they would probably have to call in the National Guard, set up medical tents, get some of these people hooked up to IVs, get them fluid, get them, some serious help, because a lot of these people are just out here dying, and it's a slow, painful death, and there's no harm reduction in that.